As you can see, I'm standing in a new location. This is an area in my garage, my workshop, where I do stuff that I've cleaned up and made look presentable enough to film some video in. And that is because I'm working a lot on this trade school project that I've talked a little bit about. And one of the really interesting things that I learned in my reading and research came from this book, skinny little book called Art Needs No Justification by Hans Rookmaaker. And I guess this was really just based off of like a lecture he gave or something, but it's really interesting because he talks about how there was kind of a split around the Renaissance, or a little before like the Enlightenment kind of period, where there was a split in culture, I guess you could say, between the high arts like painting and sculpture and probably like architecture, and then like the lower crafts and trades like building houses and furniture and making more practical things. But prior to that, the artist or the craftsman was really the same person, and it was the same person that you would hire to build a bench or to paint a mural in your house. And as I've been thinking about that, it's very interesting because I think on the one hand, you look at someone like Jonathan Pageau, and he was pursuing a career in the arts and found it very difficult to navigate spiritually. Whereas if you look at most people in like the construction trades, these are people that tend to have very solid, stable, normal lives, but we probably underappreciate their knowledge and wisdom. And in fact, that's kind of a big reason behind the concept for this project, is that I believe that there are godly men full of wisdom who are working on these trades, and we tend to overlook them and we undervalue them as a resource to help build up the next generation. But, as I'm approaching that, I think one part of remedying that problem is to bring back this division that was caused, and to realize, like, if you work in some sort of a building trade, you are just as much an artist in a way. And it's different because you're not necessarily making things just for people to look at, but there is a beauty. I think like engineers understand this, because there's a beauty in things that are well designed, but there's also a beauty in somebody who frames a house really efficiently and really consistently and does all those things. And so the pride of craftsmanship, I think, applies to all things, but I think also there is probably more room than a lot of people realize in like the building trades to be creative, and helping people realize that's okay and that's a part of it. And this is probably something that most of the people working in the trades have discovered on their own, that they may not articulate it in that way. But I think it's something that we need to talk about, because it adds another layer to this conversation, where doing a job like that is not just about the stability, it's not just about the sense of accomplishment, or just the steady, solid life that you can build around it, but it is a fulfilling thing. And I've noticed this as well in my own work career. It's a little different because sometimes people won't notice. Like, for instance, if I'm touching up something on a cabinet, the point of my best artistic abilities is for you to not notice a defect that was there. And so nobody's going to give you praise for that unless if they saw what was before. And sometimes it's even stupid stuff like, we're gonna replace this, but the house is closing before the parts are going to come in, so we just want you to make it look good for now, and then we'll replace it, which is like, well, that's kind of a silly thing in some ways, but it's still strangely fulfilling to kind of know that you've pulled it off. And I think that that sort of feeling is there whenever you find a problem and you're able to work through a solution in a creative way. So that was something I think is just universally applicable and needed to, something we need to think about and consider more. It also really expands the amount of applicable materials, because there's a lot more books and things written about how creative pursuits help us to connect to God. And I don't think that people realize that these building trades and things like that, or even just, household tasks, can very much, you can apply the same things to that. It's slightly different, but it's really in the same core way of thinking of things. So for those who are interested, I'm very close to kind of launching officially, but I have set up a Discord channel and I've invited a few people who are kind of looking stuff over. There's some rough drafts of materials and some videos and things that are available now. So I'm not going to put a link publicly yet. It will be coming soon. But if anybody is friends with me on Discord or is in the same Discord communities where I'll share this video, and you're interested in a sneak peek of what I'm doing and my progress, you want to contribute in some way, feel free to DM me and I will send you an invite to that Discord server. So thanks for watching, and hope this is enjoyable.